Let's talk about the Bad Batch episode Common Ground. G'day, welcome to the Nerdy Dad channel and my rewind review of the 10th episode of the Bad Batch Season 1. Before we get into it, two quick things. If at any point during the review you like what I'm doing, leave a like, subscribe, and feel free to say hi in the comments. And even though it's a year old at this point, I'm going to throw up a spoiler warning so everyone knows we're veering into that territory. Let's get stuck in. Common Ground was directed by Brad Rao and Saul Ruiz. Look, I've said in other Bad Batch Rewind reviews how much I love the world building in this series, particularly in the way it shows the transition to the Galactic Empire. And this episode gets right to it in very interesting ways. Straight away, the episode opens up on Raxus. And speaking of world building, during the Clone Wars era, this was the capital of the Confederacy of Independent Systems. This was a separatist planet, perhaps the separatist planet. In the very recent past, people of this planet were in active rebellion. They were at war with the Empire's predecessor. Also important narratively, outside of a few Clone Wars episodes such as Heroes on Both Sides, these guys have been generally coded as the bad guys, up against the good guy clones and the noble Jedi generals. There is a crowd gathered in the town square listening to the speech of an Imperial officer, Captain Bragg. But who they're really here to listen to is Senator RVC. And he's expected to toe the Empire's party line. His droid GS-8 warns him that if he doesn't, he's likely to disappear like the other senators. But in the end, he cannot. He tells the people that he can no longer condone the Empire's occupation of the planet, and he is dragged away. And then clone troopers and walkers move in on the square to break up the angry crowd. Again, I love the way this series shows the transition to Empire. Look, it's unclear if GS-8 contacts Sid directly or contacts somebody who contacts Sid. But either way, it's GS-8 who sets the rest of the episode in motion. The Batch return to Ord Mantell following Omega's rescue from Cad Bane. Given that there are at least 2 bounty hunters that the Batch are aware of hunting Omega, they want to keep a low profile for a while. But almost immediately, Sid gives them the task of rescuing and extracting RV-Singh from Raxus. To say that the clones have some reservations about taking this mission is an understatement. Firstly, helping a separatist. Secondly, they don't want to bring Omega to a planet swarming with Imperials. But they're still broke and in debt to Sid, so they leave Omega with Sid and go to Raxus. Omega doesn't take being left behind very well at all. Echo has more difficulty trusting the separatist client than the rest of the Batch. That goes double when they figure out that the client is a separatist droid. Look, this should be no surprise, because while all the Batch were fighting separatist droids until very recently, none of them have the same reasons to hate them that Echo does. He suffered greatly at the hands of the separatist. He was tortured and experimented on for years before Rex found him. There's no way he's going to trust a separatist or a separatist droid very easily. Now, while the rest of the Batch are on Raxus, back on Ord Mantell, Sid finds out that Omega is very good at strategy and one hell of a Dejarik player. Sid, ever eager to turn a profit, puts Omega in the middle of a Dejarik gambling racket where she wins match after match and makes quite a few credits in the process. The first part of the rescue mission on Raxus goes smoothly, and the Batch even learn to work with GS-8 somewhat. Things start to go awry as they're leaving. An alarm was triggered and walkers are brought in alongside legions of troopers. Mayhem and action ensues. It's quite a fun scene to watch, actually, or series of scenes. Importantly, though, in the end, the Batch are forced to trust the Senator in order to make their escape. He sends the Batch down a dead end, but that dead end leads to an underground passage that gets them safely back to the Marauder. The Batch take the Senator back to Ord Mantell, where the Batch are surprised to see a crowd at Sid's cantina. The crowd are watching Omega own player after player at Dejarik. Hunter's a little pissed, given that the reason they left Omega behind was so that she could stay off the radar. But he softens a lot when she tells him that she was just trying to help, even though she wasn't on the mission. And the gambling on her matches has paid off the Batch's debt with Sid. The episode ends with Hunter telling Omega that he won't leave her behind again if she can beat him in a game of Dejarik. And with that, I'm finished this review. However, just quickly, I'm changing up the release days of the remaining Bad Batch Season 1 Rewind reviews. The rest of the episodes are going to come out on Mondays and Wednesdays, while a new show of mine, the Nerdy Dad Weekly, will start being released every Sunday. Well, with that, this is the Nerdy Dad, signing off.